watching a movie when I told him I'm not happy anymore and I think we should get a divorce. He looked at me for a couple of seconds, and I swear, it looked like something broke in his eyes. He got up, walked to our bedroom, and within 10 minutes came out with a bag and walked out of the house without saying a word to me. I tried to stop him, especially after seeing him with his bag packed, and I told him it was just a joke and I didn't mean it. But he basically just brushed me off and walked out. I've tried to get a hold of him, messages, calls, emails, video chats, but he isn't answering me at all. I talked to his friends, but none of them want to tell me where he is, when, and if they even answer me. I went to his work, but they refused me entry into the building. I've tried his parents, but they don't want to get involved, as well as with his siblings. The only messages I got back were from his sister, telling me, joke or not, I fucked up. I've sent so many messages about it being a joke, and even sent screenshots of my conversations with my girlfriends about the joke as a proof that it was a joke and that I'm not backtracking all of a sudden, but nothing. My friends didn't have any real advice.
So, shout out to Infinity. I forgot the last thing for his name on YouTube, one of his subscribers. But there was a comment that he had that kind of sparked this idea to make this video, and it was about the growing trend of women sort of using, taking cues from social media, from TikTok, from Instagram, and doing these pranks, right? And we see some of them are harmless, right? The one where she's saying that, hey, I don't have enough money to pay the mortgage, and the husband is like, you've never done this before, right? Those things they look cute, they look fine, but then there's the other side of it, where sometimes some pranks go way too far when you endanger your relationship all for some sort of trend. And when we in the comment section we dive in a little deeper into that, and we are talking about how it seems as if the regard for male feelings is something that's just altogether missing. So before we continue with this one and do a deeper dive into what we're talking about here, like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss new uploads. And we'll just go right into it because this one has been, kind of running through my mind. And I'm gonna give you the remaining bits of my brain power before I need to take me take my butt to sleep. Um, so again, like we were saying, in the comment section, we're talking about how there is this almost if men's feelings are not recognized. Right? When we see this because we play the double standard and we say if we were to do this with women, if we were not to hold their feelings as sacrosanct, if we were not to sit down and say, okay, I have to watch what I say, how I say it, the tone I say it, when I say it. Otherwise, I could hurt her feelings, and I'm been sort of indoctrinated to think that I'm responsible for her happiness. That, and maybe that's where it happens. That indoctrination it doesn't cut both ways. Men assume it does, right? We assume that the way I want to guard and protect her feelings, she has been taught the same way to guard and protect my feelings. And I'm spitballing off the dome here. This is just when I'm looking at it in terms of how we were indoctrinated in, the Western sort of culture through movies, TVs, cartoons when we're growing up about what male roles and relationships are and what female roles and relationships are. We often joke about Disney and having such a a heavy hand in how we do things today. And there's also in how the movies in which we watched about how you were supposed to approach a woman and the things you're supposed to say, the things you're supposed to do, the grand gestures, all that. So that's the indoctrination I'm getting at. Not some bigger, larger, nefarious sort of plan, but how we all sort of culturally learned about gender roles, what we're supposed to do. From the male's perspective, I could, wax poetic all day, but now I'm thinking, or what are the females being taught? What are the little girls taught in terms of how are you supposed to look after a man's feelings, or men, and this is my thinking, that men are used for certain things. Men are good for certain things, or when they aren't good for certain things, you don't deal with them. So if there isn't that very same reciprocal energy, that reciprocal thought process of I should be protecting his feelings and emotions are real. Therefore, they're just as real as mine. And outside of the academic understanding of that, but that guttural right there in your chest, you understand it. So you wouldn't think to say, let me prank my husband in this nice, sweet moment and tell him I'm not happy. I think we should get a divorce. And then try to use that later on to backtrack and make it seem like, no, it's a prank. It's a joke. That doesn't absolve what he went through in those moments of hearing that, having something within him snap, within him break, and just silently go up, pack his bag, and leave. And even afterwards, there's no sorry, right? There's no, hey, you have to understand this was a joke. I didn't mean it, and try to show evidence of it. How many times have you been hurt by someone you cared about or not care about, and you just heard the sorry? The sorry, right? I don't know when it became just hollowed words, but it's been hollowed words for a long time. If there's no sort of subsequent action following the sorry, it doesn't change anything, nor does it change the nature of the wound. It's there. It hurts, right? It bothers you. It irks you, right? It debilitates you. To just hear a sorry doesn't absolve any of that. You've inserted numerous doubts into his mind, where now a part of that trust he had with you is broken, and that trust where you were supposed to honor and protect his feelings are gone. Him, just simply walking out and saying and not contacting her and leaving her with her own vice and saying, "Okay, that's how you feel. That's how you feel." I commend him for having that sort of like response rather than being emotionally, sort of erupting at that. But I can imagine how much it would hurt at that moment. At that very moment, how much it would be devastating. But then just to say, no, it's a prank. Men are left to thinking, if you loved me, if you cared about me, if your job also was to protect my feelings like mine is yours, you would never engage in something like this. On the off chance that I would believe everything you said, you can't just simply go back and say we can laugh about it and go back to normal, just continue watching the movie on the couch. That's not how feelings work. That's not how feelings work for women. And this is me making an assumption, but that's certainly not how feelings work for men. They're sometimes, yeah, they're ponderous, they're slow to move, but they're grand in their movement. It's hard for you just to say, "Oh no, that I didn't mean that. I was playing." Men don't have the luxury of sort of playing like that, especially when it comes to feelings like that. It's unfortunate, but I'm seeing a lot more of these pranks where you want to turn around and pretend like no, it was fine. And I get why it's becoming a thing, or why it had a wave, because there was a time years ago where YouTube was full of prank videos, and that was the norm of the day. People flocked to those. People gave their attention, their likes, their subscriptions. They gave that. So there's still an element of that exists here. But more importantly, when you're just simply doing it for like clicks, for I can't wait to tell the girls about this. I can't wait to tell the guys about this. And you commit pranks that really hurt the people that you say that you love. And sometimes you end up doing irreparable damage. If you think I missed something, let me know in the comments. If you see videos on your screen right now, take a look. Let me know what you think about those as well. I'll see you in the next one.